Doctor Who Genesis of the Daleks, the fourth story of the Fourth Doctor, is written by Terry Nation and starring Tom Baker, Elizabeth Sladen and Ian Marter. While they're planning season 12, Barry Letts, the producer, and Terence Dix, the script editor, felt it would be the time to bring Terry Nation back for another Dalek stories to write. As much as they're impressed with Terry's work, they did say it's too reminiscent of many of his previous Dalek stories. So they suggested The Origin of Daleks, which is a great story to explore. The title was going to be Daleks, then Genesis of Terror, but now Genesis of the Daleks. So the script got handed to producer Philip Hinchcliffe and Robert Holmes, the script editor, and Holmes wasn't a fan. However, because it's a Dalek origin story, he decided to allow it. To make it a bit of an adult story is to make it pacey and the Daleks to be more powerful. According to Terence Dix, the story wouldn't have been much different if he and Barry Letts stayed on, although he would have added some lighter moments to soften the grim tone. David Maloney, the director, said that he had no intention of losing young audience. The fact that the images of war at the beginning of this story were intended to create atmosphere. The story went through a few changes. They would have had opening with Soldier getting shot in slow motion, but they've changed it. And Terry Nation wasn't happy with it being changed. But David Maloney said the violent addition is a bit much. They would have had the Doctor meeting a Time Lord in a lush garden, but David Maloney and Philip Hinchcliffe weren't keen, so they changed the setting of that scene for Skaro, because it works better that way. Thal soldiers would have been 15 or 16-year-old boys, but got changed to adults. In the original script, Sarah Jane would have been ill by radiation in part 3. Benton would have been a man. More action in the Daleks' incubator room and ended part 5 with the Doctor's question of whether he had the right to destroy them. So the story opens with war on Skaro, a bit of World War 1 and 2 vibes. After a couple of Thals got shot dead, the Doctor meets a Time Lord who requests him to go on a mission on Skaro to stop the Daleks from exterminating all other lives across the universe.
We'd like you to return to Skaro at a point in time before the Daleks evolved.
Do you mean avert their creation?
And gave him the time ring so he can go back to the TARDIS when he's finished. This is kind of like a video game, which I like. Last time the Doctor and his companions were at the TARDIS, it was at the Nerva beacon in the Ark in space. After a Time Lord disappeared, Sarah Jane and Harry arrived, so the trio took cover while there's quite a few explosions. So they had a look at the dead Thal. As they went along, they realised they're in the minefield because they saw a landmine. After they saw a dome, they eventually reached to a trench where the gas exploded. So the Doctor, Sarah Jane and Harry puts their gas mask on and getting attacked by Thals. Luckily Khaled shot the Thals. They took the Doctor and Harry inside and leaving Sarah Jane unconscious. Khaled leader didn't think the Doctor and Harry looks like Thals, so they go on the transporter to General Raven, who kind of reminds me of Luke Skywalker with blonde hair and black uniform. So Raven got the Doctor to empty his pockets, and I thought there's a fantastic performance the way Raven ranted at the Doctor about the plan, and it was pretty amusing when the Doctor insulted him.
And build a peace which will be a monument to their sacrifice. Our battle cry will be total extermination of the Thals!
So he whips the gun off Raven's hand. Harry caught it, so they got General Raven to lead them out. By the time they reached to the lift, Security Commander Nida came, who wanted to see Raven. He lets them get on with it. However, he became suspicious and ordered his men to fire and release General Raven. This is a great running scene in the corridor. It's so intense. So they managed to go out by area lift 7 just in time. So Nida alerted the guards. As the Doctor and Harry ran through the minefields, they almost got exploded by a landmine, so then they got recaptured. Meanwhile, Sarah Jane Smith wakes up and searching for the Doctor and Harry, but couldn't find them. So the Doctor and Harry arrive back in the Raven's office, and it's bizarre to look back as the Doctor doesn't know who Davros is at the time.
Who is this Davros?
Our greatest scientist.
So they get taken to the interrogation room. Sarah Jane walks through and sees Davros and Garman testing Dalek. What an entrance.
Exterminate.
After the test, Davros, Garman and Dalek left. Sarah Jane gets surrounded by mutos. It crackles me up when the Doctor smiled at Tane, a security, and the Doctor going on about cup of tea while he's been ordered to step into security scan. So eventually they did. Harry is clear. The Doctor has a time ring on his wrist. So then they get taken to Ronson. A muto sees Sarah Jane as a norm and tries to kill her. So the other muto, Severin, is stopping him, but then there's a couple of Thals coming. He shot the other Muto for trying to escape and took Sarah Jane and Severin to work. The Doctor and Harry gets questioned by Ronson but gets interrupted as Davros arrives with Garmin and introduced a Mark III travel machine, a Dalek.
A Dalek. What? Dalek. Very primitive, but undeniably a Dalek.
You're mistaken. It's a Mark III travel machine.
Davros uses voice control to control the Dalek. So after Garmin puts a gun inside and the Dalek is on self-control and it was about to exterminate the Doctor because he's an alien, but luckily Ronson had to stop it and Davros ranted at him for it.
An instinct to destroy, and you interceded! You will be punished for this!
But Ronson said they needed for further interrogation, so Davros allows it. Meanwhile, in the Thal Dome, Sarah Jane is there with Severin, Khaled Leader who captured the Doctor and Harry, and a couple of Mutos, and they're there to use a cylinder to power up a rocket, which must be Nakarin. In the cell, Ronson tells the Doctor and Harry about his concerns about the Daleks, and he's aware that they're evil. He shows them that Khaleds would become Dalek mutants.
That is our future.
So he gets the Doctor and Harry into the ventilator shaft in order to find the people to contact. Sarah Jane pretends to pass out to distract a guard, and a Khaled Leader does a great punch on him. As they escape and climbing on the scaffoldings where the rocket is, as the guard sets the alarm, there's a group of Thal troops shooting up. A couple of Mutos and Khaled Leader get shot and fall to their deaths. So Severin tries to help Sarah Jane, but she falls. Blimey, intense cliffhanger. Sarah Jane fell on the railing, so Severin helped her, and by the time they made it to the rocket, they get recaptured by the Thal troops. In the cave we get intense moments where Harry's leg gets stuck in a giant clam, so eventually the Doctor got his leg out of there, and luckily it wasn't broken. After Carvel improves Davros' creation, he's secretly siding with Ronson, letting him know that the Doctor and Harry have contacted the Khaled leaders. The Doctor, Harry, General Raven has a meeting with Council, one of them called Mogren. The Doctor lets them know how bad the Daleks can be. Sadly, the Councils can't agree about stopping the experiments. However, they arrange a tribunal and plan to investigate, and if they know the Doctor is right, their experiments will close down. So he informs Davros about it, but behind his back he plans to go on. So the Doctor and Harry goes to the Thal city to find Sarah Jane, but they discover Davros and Nyder there, as he helps Thals to blow up a Khaled dome to kill the councillors, including Mogren.
By dawn tomorrow, our world could be at peace.
And after that we get a funny moment when the Doctor said to the two guards, "Excuse me, can you help me? I'm a spy," and then knocks them out.
Excuse me. Can you help me? I'm a spy.
Oh, that was pretty funny. So they nixed their suits and put them on, and got Sarah Jane, Severin and the Mutos out of the rocket silo, and tells them to go to the Khaled dome to warn the Khaleds. So everyone but the Doctor left as he's trying to delay the rocket, but a guard woke up and pressed a button. Electricity tightens the Doctor to scaffolding. Tom Baker as the Fourth Doctor is brilliant. Loved his portrayal and moments. He's really funny. Well casting there. Elizabeth Sladen as Sarah Jane Smith, a journalist, absolute independent companion. Absolutely love that character. Ian Marter as Harry Sullivan, who's a medical doctor in Unit. I love this character, he's canny. I love those trio, definitely one of the greatest TARDIS team. Davros in this episode is played by Michael Wisher, the creator of the Daleks and chief scientist. I love Davros, and Michael Wisher did a splendid job as he did with his other roles. The design of Davros was taking inspiration from Mekon, a comic book character, which works really well. Apparently Michael can still eat with the latex mask on. Well designed for a low budget series, I have to say. Peter Miles played Security Commander Nyder, who sides with Davros. Peter Miles did a fantastic job, and he also played Dr. Lawrence in Doctor Who and the Silurians and Professor Whittaker in Invasion of the Dinosaurs, both John Pertwee eras. John Franklin Robbins played a Time Lord who sent the Doctor on a quest and gave him the Time Ring. Great performance. Dennis Chinnery played Garmin, a head of the Khaled military elite scientific corps, and wants the experiment of the Daleks to end, and I really do like that character. Shame they killed him off. Guy Sinner played young General Raven, who reminds me of Luke Skywalker, like I said, because of the hair and the clothing. He did a great job. Richard Reeves is great as Khaled Leader, another character I felt sad to see him getting killed off. James Garbutt played Ronson, a scientist who's siding with the Doctor, another great character that got killed off. Tom Georgeson played Cavill, a Khaled scientist who's also wanted the experiments of the Daleks to end. Ivor Roberts played Mogren, a member of the Council in the Khaled Dome, who supposedly investigates the experiment. He gets killed off with rocket exploding the Khaled Dome. Khaled race are the ancestors of the Dalek race. Stephen Yardley played Severin, a Muto who helps Sarah Jane, and he's likeable. Mutos are mutated thousand Khaleds that's done by nuclear radiation. And it's horrible that Nyder says that Khaleds need to keep themselves pure. Obviously the Daleks and Khaleds are taking inspiration from the Nazis. Harriet Philippin played Betten, a Thal soldier who organises the crew to build explosives up to seal Davros and the Daleks underground. The whole cast did an amazing job with their roles. The effects is done well for its time and low budget, and I love the Dalek design as well. The music by Dudley Simpson is outstanding. So after the Doctor gets taken to Thal control, he watches rocket launch and destroy the dome, and he thinks that Sarah Jane and Harry are killed because of him. So Davros sends the Daleks in the lab to exterminate Ronson for being a traitor, and accused him to get Thals to explode the Khaled dome. The first person to be exterminated by the Daleks in Universe. So after the explosion of the Khaled dome, the Thals celebrates. Betten allows the Doctor to be free. However, the Daleks have killed quite a few Thals. And Betten got away, so her and the Doctor took cover. So they went to the trenches planning to stop the Daleks. The Doctor goes through a cave and he gets attacked by Mutos. But luckily he's saved by Sarah Jane, Harry and Severin. So Severin joins Betten and her group. The Doctor and his companions went down to the shaft while Nyder tricks Garmin and knocks him out. Meanwhile, the Doctor, Sarah Jane and Harry came out the shaft and gets recaptured. So they get strapped on chairs. Sarah Jane and Harry are hooked on the machine to die if the Doctor doesn't tell Davros how did the Daleks lose in future.
You will tell me! You will tell me!
So eventually the Doctor does. After hours later he finished. The Doctor asked Davros if he created a virus that would destroy all other forms of life on contact, would he use it?
If you had created a virus in your laboratory, a virus that would destroy all other forms of life, would you allow its use?
And he's mad enough to say yes. So the Doctor gets Davros to go on Tannoy to tell Khaled to destroy all Dalek creatures, but then gets knocked out by Nyder. Then Davros cancelled the order, so the Doctor gets taken to the cell after Cavill knocked a prison guard out and Harry pretended to be a guard. So Garmin and Cavill prepares to stop the Dalek experiment, so they have a fight with a couple of Khaleds. They grab the guns and threaten Davros if he doesn't stop the experiment he will be under arrest, and the Daleks will be destroyed. So Davros asks Garmin to arrange the meeting, so the Doctor, Harry and Sarah Jane picks up the detonator device for the Dalek incubator room. Sarah Jane gets into the army soldier outfit. The Doctor wired up the detonator device and gets attacked by a couple of Dalek mutants.
Doctor, are you alright?
So Sarah Jane and Harry grabbed them off the Doctor and threw them back in the room. The Doctor hesitated to touch two cables together because of the consequences.
Wipe out a whole intelligent life form. Then I become like them. I'd be no better than the Daleks.
While Betten and the survivor Thal troops set up detonator device on the corridor to blow a roof down, Garmin came and lets the Doctor know about the meeting. So in the meeting, Davros gets some Khaleds to be at his side while most of them are at the other side. So Nyder was about to sneak off, so the Doctor, Sarah Jane and Harry, after got all the belongings back, and followed Nyder down to the corridor and took him hostage to Davros' office to destroy the tape with a Dalek gun. After that's been done, Nyder made an escape and locked the Doctor and his companions in the Davros' office. Sadly, the time ring was dropped during the fight and the sonic screwdriver couldn't open the door, which must be deadlock seal. They saw on the monitor that Davros and Garmin argued, so Davros sends the Daleks in to exterminate all the traitors, including Garmin and Kravos, which is a sad scene. Severin managed to open Davros' office and told them about Betten and her army setting the explosives up. So the Doctor picked up the time ring and everyone got away from the Daleks. So the Doctor went to the incubator room while others are begging Betton to wait a few minutes for the Doctor before blowing the roof down, but she can't do delays. But she does agree a few minutes. Well, for a bit. The Doctor managed to get the Daleks to connect a couple of cables together to explode the incubator room. And the Doctor has made it to the group and they've blown the roof down. Davros noticed automated Dalek production line has been started. He didn't give any order, it was the Daleks. So he asked the Daleks to turn it off, but they refused, so he sends Nyder to do it, but the Daleks exterminated him. The Daleks have betrayed Davros as they have no pity, no emotions except hate.
Exterminate!
So the Daleks exterminated the other Khaled scientist and exterminated Davros.
Exterminate!
When I first saw that, I was not expecting it because Davros appeared in Stolen Earth and Journey's End, and I didn't think they would kill Davros, which makes me glad that I found out because it gives me hopes to see Davros again. I love the Dalek speech at the end planning what they're gonna do.
This is only the beginning. We will prepare.
So everyone said goodbye and the Doctor, Sarah Jane and Harry used the time ring, moving them, twisting and turning through space and time. Man, this is a fantastic story. This is the first classic story that I watched properly, I think. It's either that or the Five Doctors. It's definitely the first classic DVD I've collected as my mum gave it to me when I was about 10, and I love that story. It's definitely a well-known classic story. What's your thoughts of Genesis of the Daleks? Let me know in the comments down below. As always, thanks for watching and see you in the next video.